Hi everyone! In this video, I will discuss all about learning disability. Learning disabilities in children. If your kid has been having trouble focusing at school, remembering things, or seems quite flustered due to it, he could have a learning disability. Most learning disabilities can be overcome by understanding them and intervening in the early years of your child's growth. Watch this video to know more. What are learning disabilities? A learning disability is defined by the Department of Health as a significant reduced ability to understand new or complex information, to learn new skills, impaired intelligence, with a reduced ability to cope independently, impaired social functioning, which started before adulthood. Learning disability or learning disorder are an umbrella term for a wide variety of learning problems. A learning disability is not a problem with intelligence or motivation. Kids with learning disabilities aren't lazy or dumb. In fact, most are just as smart as everyone else. Their brains are simply wired differently. The difference affects how they receive and practice information. Learning disability are related to how a person receives, processes, stores information, and responds to instructions. They experience trouble reading, writing, following instructions, understanding direction. Having a learning disability means that people find it harder to learn a certain life skills. The problems experienced vary from a person to person, but may include aspects such as learning new things, communication, managing money, reading, writing, or personal care. Some people are born with a disability, whereas others may develop one as a result of an accident or illness in childhood. Characteristics of learning disabilities: slow reading rate, problems with reasoning and abstract concepts, problem understanding what is read, difficulty recalling arithmetic operations, difficulty finding important points or main ideas, problem remembering math facts. What causes a learning disability? Learning disabilities are caused by something affecting the development of the brain. This may occur before birth, prenatally, during birth, or in early childhood. Learning disabilities can be caused by any one of a variety of factors or by a combination. Sometimes the specific cause is not known. The possible causes include the following: an inherited condition, meaning that certain genes passed from the parents affected the brain development, for example, Fragile X. Chromosome abnormalities such as Down syndrome or Horner syndrome. Complication during birth resulting in a lack of oxygen to the brain. A very premature birth. Mother's illness during pregnancy. The mother drinking during pregnancy, for example, fetal alcohol syndrome. Some people with learning disabilities have additional physical disabilities and/or sensory impairment.
Types of learning disability. First, dyslexia. People with dyslexia usually have trouble making the connections between letters and sounds and with spelling and recognizing. Dyslexia affects how a person processes language, and it can make reading and writing difficult. It can also cause problems with grammar and reading comprehension. Children may also have trouble expressing themselves verbally and putting together thoughts during conversation. People with dyslexia often experience other symptoms. This may include difficulty organizing reading and spoken language, difficulty understanding questions and following direction, slow reading as well as giving up on longer reading tasks, difficulty learning new vocabulary either through reading or hearing, delayed ability to speak. Second, dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is characterized by problems with writing. This disorder may cause a child to be tense and awkward when holding a pen or pencil, even to the extent of contorting his or her body. A child with very poor handwriting that he or she does not outgrow may have dysgraphia. Learning disability in writing can involve the physical act of writing or the mental activity of comprehending and synthesizing information. Basic writing disorder refers to physical difficulty forming words and letters. Expressive writing disability, a struggle to organize thoughts on paper. Other signs of this condition may include bad handwriting, trouble with spelling, difficulty putting thoughts down on paper, a quick loss of energy and interest while writing, saying words out while writing. Third, dyscalculia. Signs of this disability include problems understanding basic arithmetic concepts such as fractions, number lines, and positive and negative numbers. Dyscalculia affects a person's ability to do math. Math disorders can take many forms and have different symptoms from person to person. In young children, dyscalculia may affect learning to count and recognize numbers. As child gets older, they may have trouble solving basic math problems or memorizing things like multiplication tables. Other symptoms may include difficulty with math-related words problems, trouble making change in cash transactions, missiness in putting math problems on paper, trouble recognizing logical information sequences, for example, steps in math problems, trouble with understanding the time sequence of events. Fourth, dyspraxia. A person with dyspraxia has problems with motor tasks, such as hand-eye coordination, that can interfere with learning. Dyspraxia affects a person's motor skills. Motor skills help us with movement and coordination. A young child with dyspraxia may bump into things or have trouble holding a spoon or tying their shoelace. Later, they may struggle with things like writing and typing. Some other symptoms of this condition include problems organizing oneself and one's things, breaking things, trouble with tasks that require hand-eye coordination, such as coloring within the lines, assembling puzzles, and cutting precisely, sensitivity to loud and or repetitive noise such as the ticking of a clock, sensitivity to touch including irritation over bothersome feeling clothing. Fifth, auditory processing disorder. This is a problem with the way the brain processes the sounds a person takes in. It is not caused by hearing impairment. People with this disorder may have trouble. Some other symptoms of this condition include learning to read, distinguishing sounds from background noise, following spoken directions, telling the difference between similar sounding words, remembering things they've heard. Sixth, visual processing disorder. Someone with a visual processing disorder has a trouble interpreting visual information. They may have a hard time with reading or telling the difference between two objects that look similar. People with a visual processing disorder often have trouble with hand-eye coordination. Symptoms of visual processing disorders: loss of attention and concentration, easily distractible, daydreaming, poor handwriting, difficulty writing on the lines or keeping margins, clumsiness, bumping into things, inability to catch a ball, etc., difficulty copying information from the board or a book. 7. Nonverbal learning disability. People with nonverbal learning disability struggle with a range of conditions that include social and spatial disabilities. Often they are marginalized and isolated. Consequently, they can experience social barriers throughout their lives. Typically, people with nonverbal learning disabilities show excellent memory for they hear, poor memory for things they see, good reading ability, very poor arithmetic ability, excellent verbal expression, and verbal reasoning. 8. Language disorder. Language disorder or language impairments are disorders that involve the processing of linguistic information. Problems that may be experienced can involve grammar, syntax, and/or morphology, semantic, meaning, or other aspect of language. These problems may be receptive, involving impaired language comprehension, expressive, involving language production, or a combination of both. Examples include specific language impairment and aphasia, among others. Language disorder can affect both the spoken and written language and can also affect a sign language. Typically, all forms of language will be impaired. Other symptoms include reduced vocabulary in comparison to other children of the same age, limited ability to form sentences, impaired ability to use words and connect sentences to explain or describe something, reduced ability to have a conversation, leaving words out.
The diagnosis and testing process for learning disabilities. Diagnosing a learning disability is a process. It involves feeling, history taking, and observation by a trained specialist. Finding a reputable referral is important. Start with your child's school, and if they are unable to help you, ask your insurance company, doctor or friends, and family who have dealt successfully with learning disabilities. Types of specialists who may be also to test for and diagnose learning disabilities include clinical psychologist, school psychologist, child psychiatrist, educational psychologist, developmental psychologist, neuropsychologist, psychometrist, occupational therapist, test sensory disorder that can lead to learning problems, and speech and language therapist. Getting help for children with learning disabilities. Learn the specific about your child's learning disability. Read and learn about your child's type of learning disability. Find out how the disability affects the learning process and what cognitive skills are involved. It's easier to evaluate learning techniques if you understand how the learning disability affects your child. Research treatments. Along with knowing about the types of learning disability your child has, educate yourself about the most effective treatment options available. This can help you advocate for your child at school and pursue treatment at home. Pursue treatment and services at home. Even if the school doesn't have the resources to treat your child's learning ability optimally, you can pursue these options on your own at home or with a therapist or tutor. Nurture your child's strength. Even though children with learning disabilities struggle in one area of learning, they may excel in another. Pay attention to your child's interests and passions. Helping children with learning disorders, their passion and strength will probably help them with the areas of difficulty as well. And that's all for today's video.